I just would like to speak from the book of Luke, chapter 9. In this chapter, we're talking about Jesus, Yeshua. He had this ministry when he fed 5,000, as it is mentioned in other Gospels and Gospel of Matthew. But I would like to read a verse after that miracle, which was kind of Yeshua preparing his face to go to fulfill the will of Father. He set his face to go to Israel because we're looking at the last probably 6 and 7 months when April is coming and it will be Passover. And he's setting his face to go to Jerusalem to fulfill his mission. And here he has kind of sitting people in ranks and in Galilee, and he's preparing another type of Passover for Galileans. And he started to preach about that he is a bread which was sent from heaven, and explaining to the people that the bread which was sent, manna, which was sent to the people before, it was sent by his Father. But those people who ate that manna, they died. But now the Father sent a living bread, and he is the bread of life. And in Luke 9:51, it's saying, "It came to pass, when the time was come, that he should be received up," in other words, ascended, "that he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem. And then he sent messengers to prepare before his face to Samaria." Samaria, we know, this is a place where the people were brought from another, Samaritans were brought from Babylon, from Ava, from Hamath, from all other nations to replace the captives which were carried out to the east. And they were despised by Jews. Jews would go make extra trip not to go into Samaria, but we remember that miracle which happened in when Jesus said in John 4 that I have to go and pass Samaria. And we remember he knew about that desperate woman, the prostitute, who was not married, had 5 relationships. He came in the heat of the sun for the water. And God knew her heart. Jesus knew her heart. And he said, I must pass through Samaria. And this was a wonderful encounter, this desperate woman who was searching for something, who came in the heat of the sun. And she was wondering how this Jew passing by, and he spoke with her and asked for the water. And she received that living water because she was desperate enough. And she became evangelist. And many people came to hear his message, and they believed. But now it was a time for him to go to Jerusalem, and this to be received up. And he steadfastly set his face to go, and they didn't receive him. Amen. This time, and Samaritans didn't receive him, because his face was as though he would go to Jerusalem. And I didn't understand that verse until I understood, because they were so despised by Jews. They were not allowed to come to worship in the temple. So they set up their worship on Mount Gerizim. So it was it's kind of strange fire type of thing of worship. And they knew that Yeshua will go and worship in the temple, which Samaritans wouldn't go, and they didn't receive him. This is one of the versions, probably, why they didn't receive him, because they knew that he will go and worship in that temple. where he's supposed to go, because the Father, it was his time to go. And his disciples said, should we call out a fire from heaven? Kind of recalling that fire which Elijah called. And Yeshua said, the Son of Man didn't come to destroy man's life, but to save them. What a wonderful, and he just reminded that what type of spirit are they now? They have a spirit of Ruach HaKodesh, and it was a different dispensation. It was dispensation of grace had come. And then suddenly one person came and said, Lord, I'm reading from verse 57, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Jesus said unto him, foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but Son of Man has not where to lay his head. In another, in Matthew, it's mentioned that that person was scribe. Was a lead group. They were part of Sanhedrin. So there were people of means. And Yeshua just remind him that he came as a suffering servant this time. And he wouldn't promise his wealth, and he knew something in the heart of that man, that he was not ready to give up those riches. The Lord always answered, as you remember from other books. Pharisee would think, and the Lord would answer. Pharisee would just have that thought, and Yeshua would answer. So this is the same thing. He knew what is in his heart, that when a severe test will come of deprivation, painful self-sacrifice, he would not pass. He would not be faithful. And then another person came. But this, he didn't even come. But Lord called him, and he said to another, this time while he's dealing with this so-called disciple, he is calling, he summoned another disciple. And he said, follow me. And but that disciple said, suffer me first to go and bury my father. And Jesus said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of God. And in this case, first of all, we think that how he could say that he could go and bury his father, but this is not a real message there, because first of all, we don't know if father was dead, right? It's not saying here. He's really, Lord saw something in the heart of that man, that he was ready really to come and follow the Lord, but something was holding him. And he really would like to go and wait until father will pass and maybe then bury. And in that, especially in Mid-Eastern religion, especially if it was like all the son, and he had to settle everything. And something from the word of Chrysostom, the older saint, he mentioned that, that he might need and went to do funeral, after that proceed and a burial, and set up a will, distribution of the inheritance, and all other things which he would have to take care of this. But the Lord was summoning him to forget about those things and come, because this was imperative and more urgent to set aside those duties. But he called him to himself because it was urgent to preach the kingdom of God, because time has come. And then it was another disciple said, I will follow thee, but let me first go and bid them farewell, which are at home in my house. And Jesus said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God. Amen. And this is another case where he saw something in his heart that he was eager to go, but at the same time he would like to go in opinion of the family members, friends, go back to talk it over before he will follow the Lord fully, heartily. And Jesus, Yeshua, definitely knew the details of his life. And he drew the imagery from agriculture, and we know that it was agricultural state, right? The people knew what he was talking about. Because when you put plowing and you put a straight, in order to put a straight plow on furrows, you cannot look back. Because if you look back, the forest not going to be straight. You will looking back on the things which you left and regret and not go straightly follow Yeshua. And this is a very, I believe, sobering words which he said. Those who put hand to the plow and looking back